As companies, the least we can do is ensure that our weavers are getting continuous salary and they're not, they're not getting affected by a COVID or any circumstances. The other thing what we can do is while we are marketing Kalaneca, we are also marketing their names by writing their names. That's the least we can do. But this is where as a customer, and here I'll talk as a customer as well because I too shop, is as a customer, what am I doing? Because I'm busy haggling and bargaining from them, but when I go to a Gucci or any other Louis Vuitton I will not bargain because I'll go there. Whatever price you quote, I'll say, you know what, yeah, this is what it deserves. But I'll go straight to my hand woven weaver and say, Bhai Saab, kya? Aap itne mein de rahe ho? Nahin, abhi itna mein do. So who is to be blamed? Or it's not the word blame, but who has to change the behavior is we all ourselves. If you feel you're the hero, then entrepreneurship or trying to help a weaver is not gonna work out because then the things are different, the dynamics are different. Do it because there's a bigger purpose than you and me. Do it because your purpose beats you and beyond your lifetime. Do it for that.
There is no substitute to hard work, but I also know that there is no substitute to dreaming. And today we have with us someone who never failed to dream and worked super hard to achieve and come where she is right now. Hello, my name is Sadaf and I welcome you all to the Women Influencers Talk Show, a voraciously loved talk show on YouTube. Thank you so much for all your support and all your, the fan mails that I get are super motivating. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel as of now, it's time to do that right now and also press the bell icon so that you are notified every time we upload a new video. Women Influencers Talk Show. It's your chance to influence. Today I'm so honored to interview Ramya Rao, who is the co-founder of Kalaneca House of Handloom. She, along with her sister Kavea and inspired by their mother Lata Rao, who is fondly called Amma, came up with this beautiful and truly amazing idea to reinvent and propagate the art and artisans involved with the making of Uppada Sarees, which originated from the East Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh. So the entrepreneurial spirit of the twin sisters, which they inherited from their mother, along with their love for these saris together, they initiated Kalaneca, a brand that celebrates the art, artist and the artisans through hand-woven weaves. Along with this, both the sisters are trained Bharatnatyam and Kuchipudi dancers. Well, as I said before, the list is endless. I can go on and on, but I'm sure you all are waiting for Ramya to join us right now. So I would like to welcome Ramya on Women Influencers Talk Show today's episode. Hello Ramya, how are you doing?
Hi Sadaf, thank you. Actually, I think the pleasure is mine getting this opportunity to have this conversation with you and getting people to know about Kalaneca through you. So thank you.
Well, it's an honor for all of us here to welcome you, and of course we are missing Kavea right now. But my next question to you, and the first question to you is, you have had a wonderful childhood with aesthetics and etiquettes both having a strong influence. Can you tell us how was it back then?
Right, I think Sadaf, my dad was with the Indian Navy. So clearly, I think when you're with the defense forces, you're always traveling, always moving from one place to another. You try to settle in one place and then they say transfer ho gayi hai, chalo. So we've always been in that kind of a setup. So you were actually right when you said aesthetics and etiquette. So I remember those days when dad would ensure that at the dining table, my sister and I, my mom, we are sitting with our bread and a bread knife and butter knife and all of that. And there's set etiquettes that are followed, and the aesthetics that you get to witness when you're with the defense forces is beautiful. There's a lot of elegance, there's grace that the women in the defense, they always portray. For me, specifically, my childhood was all about ensuring that Kavea and I, we would always go for swimming classes. In the Navy, तो पानी में तैरना तो आना ही चाहिए. So we would keep going for swimming classes. Then dad and mom would put us in dance classes, and I think that's one of the beautiful things they've ever done to us. Is they focused on studies, but they always believe that your personality grows not just in the school but outside of the school. What you do. So school में जो भी हम कर रहे थे, पर बाहर we were swimming, we were dancing, Bharatanatyam starting with that, and then moved on to Kuchipudi. Then we also did kayaking. We would also go play, on the monkey bars and do a lot of things. At the end of the day, I think the idea was to give a holistic childhood to us. And I think that played a very important role in shaping Kavya and I, who we both are today. We ensure that that part of the personality stays throughout. And I think somewhere that is not just in Kalaneca, but also in the way we are as people. So it was beautiful. I think the childhood was great.
That's awesome. Hearing you talk about all the adventure things that you've done, I think it's just, it's the adrenaline rush is coming here as well. So I would like to ask you, why not anything into naval? Why not going in, for what you've seen throughout your childhood, and how come Kalaneca happened, and what was the idea behind this?
Great. Yeah. So I think since we started traveling from one place to another, after going to Bombay, Cochin and other places, then we landed in Andhra. And Mom, when we came to Kakinada, this place which is the coastal side of Andhra, she started exploring the weaves from this tiny village called Uppada. Now, Uppada is just 8 kilometers away from Kakinada. They have beautiful hand-woven weaves. In fact, an interesting fact is that the power loom, that is your machine-made sarees, have not entered that village yet, which means it's still pristine, it's still pure. She started exploring and she started believing that let's get these weaves outside to the world. So that was her initial thing, Jo, in the year 2000 she started doing it. It was in the year 2014 when Kavya and I sat with Mum and we said, hey, Mum's doing something low scale, but she still has the passion and we have the passion for weaves. In fact, I wanted to bring out another story, which is Kavya and I wore our first sari when our dance master forgot to bring our dance dresses for a stage performance. We were performing, and that we were 5-year-old. It was a Bharatanatyam performance, and the dance dresses, the costumes, right, which are very important, they got lost. My mum instantly went home, got her, in fact, one of the saris was her wedding sari. She made us wear it and she said, you know what, girls, go rock the stage. Just do your best. We were wearing a sari for the first time as a 5-year-old, a whole sari, by the way, and we danced as gracefully. So our connection with the sari goes back there. Our connection with the sari also goes back to our Republic Day parade as NCC cadets, where we wore our saris, and then watching Mom bring out the Uppada Sarees. So I think somewhere we saw sari as a common thread in our lives. And since we were Bharatanatyam dancers and we were into art, we always believed that a sari is nothing but an extension of art. Because it's one of the beautiful things is it's a garment that does not ask you for your size. आप जाके जब आप साड़ी खरीदते हो, आप L, XL, S नहीं देखते हो. आप बस उसका डिज़ाइन देखते हो, उसकी पहनाव देखते हो, बोलते हो, you know what, I want to buy this. So it does not tell you to fit in. And I think that's something Kavya and I in 2014 said, you know what, let's bring the story out to the world and not just make it low scale. Let's bring it out to the world. That there's this beautiful hamlet called Uppada, and they're weaving hand-woven sarees in cotton and pure silk, pure mulberry silk. And it's just beautiful. Let's get it out.
That's fantastic, thinking about this and, all the hard work that you both have done. In fact, rather I would say your mother, along with your mother, and taking it to the scales that you are in. It's really, we are actually so proud that people like you are actually commercializing it in a way that so that not only the art survives, but also the artisans have a livelihood. And that's really great, I'm so proud to be actually talking to you. Now, Kalaneca as a name, what does it actually mean?
I'm glad you asked that question, because the name is rare and the name has a sandhi in it, because there's Kala, which is art. And I think by now you would have known that because art is a common thread for us. So there's Kala, that's art, and Neca actually comes from nikah, which in Urdu means marriage. So one day we were just sitting and we were brainstorming like naam kya rakhe. We knew very well ki kala word to pakka hoga. That's going to be there because that's the core. But what could be the second word? And one of our friends and we were sitting and jamming together and we said, you know what, marriage of art forms. It's not necessary that a design has to be in a particular way. Why not we explore? Because Kavya and I have always traveled around the world. So we believed in fusion, but not confusion. Right. So fusion में आप क्या करते हो? आप दो चीज़ें लाते हो. You bring two beautiful things and you amalgamate it. Confusion would be khichdi. So we were very clear that when we bring out sarees, we probably experiment with a new design from a travel, a new design from our past, from our childhood. So a marriage of art forms is kala and nikah, so Kalaneca.
That's amazing. It sounds so pretty when you actually do the, detailing about the name. It's so unique, and but it has so much of meaning, and that's so beautiful. I mean, it's really, definitely it kind of, you can actually understand. Okay, Kalaneca, and it's so beautiful. Really, it's a very pretty name. Now, my next question to you is that. How did your experiences of growing up years play a part in envisioning Kalaneca? So, what was the, if you talk about your childhood, and as you told, you've traveled so much across so many different places, how did you envision Kalaneca apart from the fact that your mother was doing and working towards this particular art form?
So I think while the initial thought was, okay, mom's doing this, let's join hands. Eventually, that is within few days of doing it, we realized the purpose is much bigger than that. Because when we started visiting Uppada, we started visiting the weavers who we believe are not laborers. They are actually the artistic, skilled people of India. And when we started visiting them and talking to them, and they're so beautiful, they talk in Telugu so well with us, Ramya Garu, Kavea Garu, Inkenti, Cheppandi, they're amazing. When we met them and when we saw their vision of how they bring their vision into reality on a sari, we said, you know what, we want to be that catalyst that brings their vision out as well. So while it started with a vision to help Mama, eventually by 2014 itself it became a vision to ensure that the weaves of Uppada are there across the world. In fact, Uppada is on a global map of India. Everyone knows a Kanjivaram, everyone knows a Banaras, everyone knows a Kasavu. Not many people know Uppada, and I think that was a good area, an opportunity to become that catalyst to go ahead and share the story. So the vision actually, let's be honest, didn't come immediately like Eureka. It happened over time. And in fact, today if you see our bio, we talk about celebrating the art, the artist, that is you, and the artisan, which is a weaver. So I think it took time. It was never that the vision was crystal clear right in 2014. We took our own time, and then we realized this is what we are envisioning for Kalaneca. What we envision now is that pure hand woven weaves, no machine made sari, and every weaver का जो नाम है हम लिखते हैं जब भी हम एक साड़ी देते हैं. So we want them to get that recognition that they are not behind the scene. They are the scene. They are the reason why you and I are wearing a sari.
That's wonderful and such an amazing feel, just because they are there and doing your work. It is so important for people like us to actually, bring forth them and bring them forward and give them a platform and a recognition. It's such an amazing thing. It's so the empathy and the things that are involved in it are so precious. So, but in today's time, when most of the people are wearing high-end clothes and what should I say, Pret collections and all of that, where do you see and how hard was it to preserve the culture and heritage of our country, and what are the difficulties that you faced? Of course, as you said before, that sari is the most easiest garment when you come about draping yourself into for any shape and size, but tell us about the challenges that you faced, and especially now in the millennium, how difficult was it to make your idea float in the market?
Right, so I think one of the biggest challenges, let's be honest, is because we are in an area called handloom, where we are very particular that sari haath se banegi. That's one. Sari ki jo motifs hai वो भी हाथ से बनेगी. So what we're doing is we're already touching a niche market. With that, what happens is I somehow end up losing the entire rest of the market, which is okay with buying a machine-made sari. So my biggest challenge is actually converting a person who likes any sari to a hand-woven sari. That's my first challenge. My second challenge is, of course, I think recently silk prices have gone up from 3,500, they're 7,000 a kg. We haven't changed our prices because वो दिल से नहीं आया that we change our prices and ask more from the customer. Yet we are paying more to our weavers. So these are the external challenges. Internal challenges are what a person faces, which is अरे साड़ी तो 200 में भी मिल रही है, तो मैं जाके क्यों 4,000 डालूं? साड़ी तो 300 में मिल रही है, I can just wear it and just go to the office. Why do I have to wear 1,800 ka sari? So that's another internal challenge where a person wants to do a lot for India, but is constrained with, let's say, finances, Second is, okay, who cares? And it's absolutely okay. I'm not saying that's wrong. So that becomes a challenge for Kalaneca, where people are okay to wear a machine-made sari, but not ready to invest in a hand-woven sari. So that's an internal challenge. And external, as I shared with you, is of course the circumstances like this, where silk and cotton prices have gone up. And I think another external challenge I see is where people think that a sari is not comfortable. I'm glad you said it out that sari is comfortable. In fact, I think recently, Alia Bhatt, like she's worn a lot of saris, right, for the Gangubai Kathiawadi promos. And she was asked this question. She said, "Abhi to main taekwondo bhi kar sakti hu." What's not surprising is that's true. अगर आप जाके छोटे villages में देखोगे, all the people are wearing saris and doing their work. So it's not new to wear a sari and do a gymnast and all. It's great that people are doing it. So I want more and more people to do it. And to convince them, I think somewhere it's great that now sports people are wearing saris. Celebrities are wearing saris. We are changing the norm and youngsters are now wearing saris. So, but my challenge still remains the same, that you can wear a hand-woven sari and do that. So these are a few of the challenges. One, starting with mindset. Second, starting with the cost. Let's be honest, it is expensive. I'm not going to convince you to say, "Arey, roj hand-woven sari kharido." Third is external circumstances. And fourth, last one, of course, is COVID. With COVID coming in, of course, it's not an essential item. You know, a sari or a clothing. Let's be honest, none of us would have shopped so much during COVID. So then how do I convince somebody that you need a sari, even though there's COVID and you're not going out? That becomes a challenge. Now, how did we overcome all of that? We created something called an online festival, shopping festival. This was in 2020. What do? We went ahead and we modeled all the saris, put up the videos and said, okay guys, this is the day. This day is your online exhibition. Like how you go offline exhibition, this is an online exhibition. There's only one piece. You shop it, drop a DM, it's yours. And this is the flat price. And we of course reduced the prices because we had to do that, else our viewers wouldn't have got the money. So we did that one. Second thing, we changed the entire narrative. We decided कि जब COVID है, जब साड़ी नहीं बेच सकते हो, तो हम narrative change करेंगे. What do? We went ahead and we went to this forest. I don't know if you have watched the movie Pushpa. Yeah, you heard of the movie? Super. So Pushpa was shot in this one of the jungles called Milli, which is in Andhra, which is very close. We actually went to that forest where you have spiders, big ants and all of that, when we shot our saris close to the nature because, hey, sari is also natural. We decided that let's bring the story out rather than selling. So we focused on storytelling instead of sari selling. These are the few things we did. Yes, the challenges still exist, but I think we did a good job.
Wonderful. I mean, this is really amazing, and I'm so happy that you're sharing the business idea and basically how did you come off it, and through your your expertise and your of course analysis of the market, you drafted a plan of action. That's really great. Now, before we proceed, exactly what is Uppada Sari and what is the fabric? And what is the type of work that is involved? You see, why I'm asking is that so that if I am investing 1,000 rupee, let me just know, okay, handloom can be many, like cotton can be anything, but why such price range for Uppada? So what goes behind an Uppada sari making?
Thank you, Siddharth. In fact, I'm glad you asked that question because I think that's our main intention, is to bring the story of Uppada out. So first things first, Uppada is a place. It's a tiny village, beautiful village, but a tiny village near coastal Andhra. So whichever sari is made in Uppada is known as an Uppada sari. However, there's a difference. Many of you, if you have worn a Kanjivaram sari, you would have noticed that the borders are heavy, there's good sheen and all. I love Kanjivarams, let's be honest about it. But a Kanjivaram sari is woven and the border is attached to it. Right. Unlike an Uppada sari, the entire sari is woven in one shot on the loom. Kuch attach kiya nahi jata usme. So that's one of the biggest, ways of identifying Uppada sari. Second, an Uppada sari is one of the lightest saris in the country. In fact, it's so light. Good 200 years back, when the British had to, when British were there and we had to send silk from one place to another, the Uppada silk or the silk could fit into a matchbox. It could fit into a matchbox, and that's how they were I wouldn't use the word smuggle, but they were sending the silk through. That's one. So Uppada saris, jitni bhi grand ho, they're very, very light. Even your most grand Uppada Jamdani sarees are only 600 to 800 grams. So you might be wearing a very heavy saree and people will say, "Baapre, bahut heavy hai." You know, it's so light that you can do bungee jumping also. And we have worn Uppada sarees and done zip lining. Right, so the speciality here, the speciality is one that it's woven in one length, nothing is attached. So if I'm weaving the sari, uska border bhi uske saath weave ho jata hai. Number one. Two, it's very, very light. Third, I wanted to quickly bring out about Uppada Jamdani. Now, Jamdani, you would know, while it comes from Bangladesh and West Bengal, so it's not from Uppada. But Uppada Jamdani silk is again a speciality. The sari is woven for good 45 days, and we have saris which forest theme. We have saris with a Raja Rani theme. Each motif is hand woven. It takes 45 to 60 days for 4 weavers, and they weave it so artistically that what you see on the front, when you turn it, you'll also see it on the back. And that's the sign of a Jamdani sari. When front and back look the same, you know your Jamdani is absolutely pure, and that Uppada Jamdani silk sari is woven in Uppada. So yes, this is a specialty. So when I was paying 4,000 rupees for an Uppada silk sari, you're paying it not just for the weaver's price, but you're paying it because it comes with a history, it comes with uniqueness, and when you wear it, you feel light but you feel powerful. That's why you pay so and so amount for an Uppada sari.
Wonderful. I mean, you described it so beautifully that I could actually see myself witnessing somebody weaving this sari, and it's really amazing. I mean, the way it is done, like how pashmina, as you said, that is also so lightweight, and this, if can fit in a matchbox, that can also pass through a finger ring, and that is the uniqueness about these beautiful handlooms and the things that are done by hand, and that is why they are so precious. One should understand, and of course there is a price for everything, and why not? Because these are special things, these are something which are going to be as something which you can forward it to next generation. So it is a beautiful thing. It can be an antique piece also. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and one must understand. And thank you so much, Ramya, for letting us know absolutely in detail what goes behind the scene, which is so powerful. Now I would like to ask you another thing, is that what were the 2 biggest steps that you had to change, and what obstacles, of course you've narrated some of them, did you overcome along the way? And now I'll put a point as globally. What were the challenges to convince people who are living abroad to come and invest in something like this? Of course, they are absolutely, and of course, Indian culture, you will find everywhere people going gaga about it, and making it like a special feature of their identity. But how difficult was it for you to actually make it, across the border? Yeah.
So thank you, Sada, for that question, because I think it's important for people to know as to there is market international as well, because Indians are everywhere. But honestly, we didn't have too much of a challenge to convince an international customer. We have bigger challenges convincing our own Indians over here. But all said and done, we are all spoiled for choices. So right now, you open any website or any marketplace, there are lots of choices. तो अगर आपको एक साड़ी एक जगह पे एक price पे मिलती है, you're busy looking for another place where you can get it cheaper. All of us are doing that, right? So in an international market, one of the challenges or hurdles was actually during COVID, where they wanted the sarees, but we had to deliver them within 7 days. So that was our challenge more than about a saree as such. The second challenge was, of course, while we did deliver, are they happy with the quality? Now, for somebody who's always bought machine-made sarees, instantly when you buy a hand-woven saree, you'll feel that, "Arey, hand-woven saree thoda phika hai." Or, okay, why is it too light? Why is it not so heavy and grand? I paid so much amount. I paid 10,000 rupees. It should be big. Now, and if you're trying to change the customer mindset, behavioral changes will not happen overnight. So yes, one was of course delivering on time, but second was of course convincing them that when you're buying an Uppada saree or when you're buying from Kalaneca, quality is taken care of. In fact, in one of the instances, I think in Australia, when by the time the saree reached, for whatever reasons, there was one single thread that came out, one single thread. We chose to compensate the person and again make the saree and send it to them, because we believe that we don't want anyone to be left with any negative experience. Now, this could have happened due to transit from one country to another. Now, is that a challenge for us? Yes, because we are with the weavers, we are making a hand woven sari, तो एक thread कहीं ना कहीं निकलेगा. हाथ से जो बनाते हो, you spoke about pashmina and all as such. You'll see that anything that's hand woven or handmade is not perfect. But some customers don't understand that yet, and I think we are trying to change that. We want people to know that own your own imperfection. So your hand woven sari will have an imperfection. In fact, that's a mark of a hand woven sari. So maybe that was a challenge to convince not just international, even Indian market guys. Honestly, Sadaf, we have a lot to educate ourselves that a hand woven sari mein ek mark ho sakta hai. It could be a weaver's mark, by the way. There's something called a weaver's mark. So these were the few challenges. Logistics and trying to tell them that a mark is okay. It's hand woven. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely justified. And look at the amount of time and energy and everything that goes behind. So when you talk about Uppada Sari, how much time does it take for one sari from finishing, from ideation to finishing? And how much basically, time is invested? This I want to ask you because, people should again understand behind the scene thing. So from ideation to retailing and to giving it to the displaying it on public platform, how much time does it take and what is the process?
Great. So first things first, let's talk about a simple plain sari. A plain sari, let's say Sadaf, you've called me up and said, hey Ramya, I want a plain sari, plain cerulean blue sari in silk. And let's say that's a conversation. So that's the start of a conversation, after which I will share the colors with you, saying, hey, which blue? In cerulean blue, is it this light, that dark, all of this, so that you're sure. The moment you say, hey Ramya, it's this color, and it has to be absolutely plain silk sari, no zari, no border, then I connect with my weaver and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We are going to ensure that we're going to create this color. Now, this is where the challenge comes. While we have a color card, we have something called a shade card. But not every color can just come automatically, let's be honest, because some colors are mixed to get, like, for example, forest red, one of our saris, forest red saris, which is gorgeous, was created with red and black threads together. So let's say by day one, when you and I, our client and I have an interaction, by day two, the conversations are closed with which color, if it's a plain sari. But if there is design involved, mark my words, it can go from 1 week to 10 days as well, because it depends on the client. आप जब तक convinced हो, that's what matters the most. If you're not convinced with the design, I will still have my conversation, and I'm okay to have the patience to have that conversation because the design matters the most. So for a plain sari, from the start to end, by the time the weaver weaves it, it's about 6 days. But for a sari with a jamdani, for example, which we are weaving, we are customizing saris for quite a few clients based out of US and Delhi and all these places. The start of the conversation till the sari is made and sent is easily between 30 to 45 days, depending on the design, number one, and depending on the number of changes you as a client will give me. अगर आप changes देते जाओगे, then number of days will increase. But 30 to 45, max 60, and we have the sari delivered to you. And we also ensure that we give with hand written notes, all our notes. Whatever sari, you buy a 1000 sari or a 1 lakh sari, we handwrite it and then give it to you, because we believe everything should be handmade. So all of this happens within 60 days.
Wonderful. So when you're talking about the price range, what makes the difference? Because of course a plain sari I can understand, and when you're talking about a lakh of rupees, what is it that goes in that 1 lakh rupee sari?
Yes, absolutely. So for a plain sari, absolutely plain, no zari at all, the cost would be around 5,500 to 6,000, depending on the colors as well. As I just mentioned, if it's a single color, if you just send me Ramya red sari, my color of the dyeing color involved is only one. But the moment you say, Ramya, I want a rare forest red, 2 colors get involved. But 5,500 to 6,500 is your plain sari. But the moment zari comes in also, it's 5,000 to 6,000. The moment jamdani work comes in, our first initial jamdani saris, simple jamdani, start at 10,000, then go up to 20, 30, 40, 50, depending on one, the intricacy of the design and the closeness of the design. So for example, the sari that I'm wearing, you can see spaces. But let's assume if I cover the entire space with zari, weaving the entire thing with zari, no space, you can only see the gorgeous, rich design, then the cost will go up. So एक है zari का cost, एक है आपके silk threads का cost, और more importantly, weaving cost. Our artisans get paid really well. We don't like to compensate them with low price. What they deserve is what they get. So, but these three are the major components. If you ask how much Kalaneca keeps as a margin, we believe not keeping a heavy margin, because our main intention is what? To ensure that everyone gets an Uppada Sari. So the moment our margins go so much, then we will lose out many customers. So we keep our margins such that we are able to match the marketing costs and the weaving costs and all. But more importantly, we ensure that the costs go to the weaver, and the silk and the zari threads are also taken care of. The dyeing is also taken care of. So 4 to 6,000 plain saris, and then 10,000 onwards are your Uppada, Jamdani, classy saris.
Wonderful. The gleam in your eyes when you speak about, this is so, it's actually very contagious. I can see it, and I am getting the high feel of exactly, basically what exactly goes in your mind and heart when this thing comes out. It's like a baby, you actually grow with it. And so, of course, you've spoken about the price range and the detailing. What are the platforms that are available? Because why I'm asking is that people, like I have had a conversation with someone who said like online business has actually paid has been a dent on them, because these are showroom owners who are sitting from morning to evening without even a single customer, while they are paying the rent, the salesperson who is sitting there, and of course the products that are there on the shelf. And while the online businesses are flourishing, what is your take on something like this?
I think that's a very good thought there, and you're absolutely right. I'm not going to deny that at all, because like we are online born. Kalaneca is born online. We don't have a retail outlet yet, and we were supposed to, and then COVID happened, and I think in one way we are like happy doing it online as such. So okay, currently we are on website and we are on marketplaces, like let's say a Mirror. We'll soon be on Amazon, Nykaa and all as well. But we are of the belief that one shouldn't be single channel. Now, single channel would be if I only have a website and expect the entire traction there. Single channel would only be that if the shop owners, जैसे आपने कहा था, if they expect only customers to come only to the shop and buy, then that is also being a single channel. The way out today in today's world is you have to be omni-channel. You have to have a retail outlet so that people can experience the sari. You have to be online, because let's be honest, none of us have the time to actually go to a store nowadays. We trust online more so often, and with COVID, that has allowed us to become more of an online shopper. So, aajkal, where do we have the patience, right? So, what do? We go online, we like something, we're like, okay, they have a return policy also, badhiya hai. खरीदो, पसंद नहीं आया तो रिटर्न भी कर सकते हो, right? When you have all these options, we are becoming even more lazy to step out and go to that shop. So yes, I'm not going to deny that with online shopping coming in, the people who are actually worked hard to create their retail stores, they would be getting hampered in their business without a doubt. And I think this is where we have to take a step ahead and open a shop. They have to take that step ahead and open an online shop as well. So it works both the ways, so that it benefits all of us. And eventually then it's about how well you are marketing, how well your product is. But yes, that's how I think I see a way forward for every one of us, not just them, but us, everyone.
Absolutely, you have to move with the time. I mean, today that is the norm. That is the normal thing to do. Not only because you are, it's so convenient. It's actually, it's so easy. There is so much of variety available. There is so much of, it's actually, because today you might have money, but you don't have time. So I guess that is very important. And I guess we are falling short of time every day. 24 hours, 24 hours are actually really less for each one of us. Now, please tell us something about the different types of saris made by Kalaneca, and how they can also fit in the modern world with so many women in the work field. Of course, you spoke about the variety and the range, and the easiness of wearing it and jumping off the cliff and all that stuff. But otherwise, for a modern woman, let's say about somebody who's a 20-year-old, 30-year-old girl, is it only something which you want to wear as a formal attire, or it can become an everyday thing for anybody? Yeah.
I actually like this question a lot, because I get asked this very often as well. So first things first is yes. Can a 20-year-old wear a sari? Definitely yes. Let's do one thing. So Sadaf, if you actually see anyone who's a CEO, most of the CEOs, except few, they actually wear saris. right? Nowadays. So a 20-year-old who's graduating from a college, she doesn't need to become a 40, 45 or 35, whatever age, or a CEO to wear a sari. She can start wearing a sari even now. And हम लोग graduation के time पे या teachers day के time पे, and as you said rightly, only on occasions we choose a sari because that's what it was fed to us. But I think that narrative is slowly changing, at least in the urban cities, where people are wearing saris in different styles, and there are more than 100 ways of wearing a sari. Some styles you and I can also create on our own and just comfortably go, and I think I do that very often, where I wear suddenly something new and I just go out and I love it. I just go for a brunch wearing a sari like a dress, and people are confused whether it's a dress or a sari. So yes, a 20-year-old today who's artistic, who believes that she wants her individuality to stand out, can actually choose a sari and wear it differently. Because everybody's wearing a trouser and a shirt, everybody's wearing a dress, everybody's wearing a skirt, everybody's wearing salwar kameez. How many are wearing a sari? You want to stand out? I think a sari would actually do that. So I believe that a youngster today also has the power to change the narrative of a sari and make it an everyday wear. Apart from that, I think in Kalaneca, our website, if you actually see, we have an exclusive collection called the CEO Club. Now, Kavea and I come from a corporate experience, so we were very clear we'll open something called the CEO Club, where we believed that the saris are for somebody who wants to go to office. And office wear is not just about starched cotton saris. It's now moved beyond that. It can be a heavy design as well, but how do you play around with the aesthetics so that you can look elegant and you're not attracting too much attention, because that's how we in corporates are, right? So it's definitely a corporate wear. In fact, sometimes what I've done is I've worn it with slacks. I've worn a sari. I've done that in my own office, my companies, and I've also worn it with a blazer and a belt. We have done a lot of things. I think we see these narratives now. So it's not just a corporate wear, it's an everyday wear. In fact, one of our youngest clients is a 7-year-old. She's taken a sari, her mom's sari, and she styled it even much beautiful than I can do it. And I said, wow. So a 7-year-old can wear a sari, a 10-year-old can wear a 20, 30, 40, 60. I think you want to wear a sari, you can wear a sari. So yeah.
You can wear a sari. Of course, it's a style statement, no doubt about it, and it's all about fusion. You can style it in the way you want, and today Instagram is full of influencers who are basically changing actually the narrative, and it's actually making a lot of difference for everything, rather I should say, be it makeup, be it the way you dress up, be it the way you look, nutrition, health, whatever. So I think it's a different world altogether, and it's a beautiful world altogether, because there's space for everyone to grow. Now my next question to you is that our audience would also love to know about the Artisans and your setup. You spoke about basically how much time does it take to weave and all of that. Who are these artisans? What is their background? Of course, Uppada, as you said, is a place from where they belong to. But do they have a formal training? And what happens? Do you provide them with training? Do you invite artisans to come over and do workshops and all? So basically, if you can tell us about the setup and what goes behind the scene in this particular aspect.
Yes, so I think, as I said before, I'm glad you've asked a question related to the artisans as such, because not many people generally ask. They just ask about the brand and then they move on. So I'm glad you asked about them as well. So they are all born in Uppada. Their fathers have woven saris, their grandfathers have woven saris, and now their children also, they wish will also weave saris. As such, while some of them are also studying, educating themselves and going out, they're continuing the legacy of weaving as such. So who are these people? These people are majorly, in Team Kalaneca, majorly most of them are men, and we have few women who are weaving. They are educated. Some of them are also toppers. Some of them are toppers in Andhra, in chemistry and other languages as such, and other areas as such. And some of them have chosen not to study too much. Maybe they've done the basic graduation, but yes, they have done their graduation. Very few have probably just studied till 12th. So they are educated. They have taken that legacy from their parents and from their, their grandparents, and they want to continue that. While yes, sometimes there are situations where they know that the money that comes in is less. If they can study and go out, they learn more. They believe in keeping that tradition alive. They believe in keeping that legacy alive, and they believe that they are contributing to the landscape of the Indian handloom and the culture of our country. There was this one idea that I had, which was called Sarees and Sangrias, which is I wanted to get the weavers on board with the loom and have a nice, like how we have kitty party, but have a nice brunch party and get people on board who can come and have some nice sip some nice wine and watch the weavers weaving and join them in weaving. So I hope one day I'll be able to execute this idea. But yes, we haven't had a workshop with the weavers in Bombay. They have come to Bombay. They have of course come there to work out on the sarees as such. But predominantly we travel to Uppada, like today now I'm Kakinada. So we travel to Uppada, we work with them and then get the sarees out. Predominantly that's the business model that works right as of now.
Now my next question to you is that where do you see Kalaneca 5 years from now, and how do you plan to achieve your goals? Of course, you spoke about going into different things also, but like for example, do you plan to start showrooms pan India, and what are the other things that you have in mind when you talk about 5 years down the line? If you could just tell us.
All right, so I think the next 5 years we wish Kalaneca to be in a space that is fostering conversations about handloom. I'm not going to sit here and say if I converted 100 people to wear handloom then I'm successful. It's wrong. जिनको जो पहना वो पहन सकते हैं. But if I feel 100 brides have worn an Uppada Jamdani sari, I feel happy. I feel, hey, Kalaneca has done that one bit and has brought out the story of Uppada. If probably, I open a showroom, which is not just a showroom, we believe that it won't be just a showroom. If we go retail, it will have an art cafe with it. Definitely, like without any doubt. Now, we are dancers. So I will, Kavea and I are very clear, we'll ensure that while there's a section for sarees, there's saree styling, there's also be a studio where you can come and practice your dance, and there's going to be a cafe which has got to do with art. So that's our vision when we're going to open a retail store. So it's not going to be just a store.
I will give a suggestion. Do a small corner, devote a small corner where everybody learns how to make a Uppada sari.
I like that. Absolutely. Why not? How to weave it.
Yeah, a small corner, a small handloom setup. If I'm there, I would like to sit on that weave and maybe 2-3 threads, if I can just weave the connect that I will have. It'll be great. It can be a sari, it can be a dupatta, it can be a stole or whatever, and maybe they can take a small course on it, like a 5-day workshop on it, and we 4 or 5 people can actually sit with the teacher and learn exactly how to do it. And this will be such an amazing thing. I mean, this is my idea which just came into my mind, like apart from a cafe and a book club and all of that. I think this will give a better connect also, and definitely will be a mover and shaker in this thing.
Yeah, but you said it right, because I think maybe let's say if you were to weave few threads and eventually take that sari, and if I say the sari is yours, aapne weave ki hai, ye aapki sari hai, I think that connect is great. So I love that. Absolutely, and I think I'm glad you brought that out as well, so thank you.
Yeah. How we are artists, basically, and when you talk about this thing, it just, as I said, I feel as if I'm sitting there. I'm seeing all these people weave in front of me. I have visited a place called Fatehpur Sikri, which is near Agra, and they weave dharis. I have made a documentary on those artisans, and it's such a sad a state of affairs that it's woven so beautiful, and it's actually very low cost, but when it actually goes and floats in the market, it just becomes thrice its price, which is criminal, and they hardly get anything. In fact, there's a friend of mine who also run a similar kind of thing in Lucknow, and she was really crying the other day seeing the state of affair for these artisans, especially in Bengal, where they are actually doing all their hard work and all of that, and at the end of the day they eat only the broth of rice, which is so criminal, which is such a sin. Why is it happening? Why do you think we are still fighting for these artisans while we are all sitting in AC rooms and having that hot cup of cappuccino? Why are these people still not getting recognition? There is so much of grants which are coming, NGOs which are working. Why still no identity, and no, they don't taste the flavor of life as we do? Why is that so?
I'm glad you asked that, and that's true. That is the plight, the current plight right now. It is how it is, and it's unfortunate. We will be sitting nasis, when we market, you all get to know of Kalaneca. But the Kalaneca cannot exist without these people. Not only Kalaneca, all the brands where you and I shop from will cease to exist the day these artisans claim to say, you know what, we are putting a halt to this entire behavior of yours towards us. So it's unfortunate that they're still in a state where they probably are not having all the 3 meals. They're still in a state where they're not getting their recognition. Now, this is where I think as companies, we will have to step up. Now, I can't talk about other companies, but for us, for example, how we mentioned the person's name. In fact, at one point, we wanted to put their photos also as well, so that you know them. But my question is also to the customer here. So as companies, the least we can do is ensure that our weavers are getting continuous salary, and they're not getting affected by a COVID or any circumstances. The other thing what we can do is, while we are marketing Kalaneca, we are also marketing their names by writing their names. That's the least we can do. But this is where, as a customer, and here I'll talk as a customer as well, because I too shop, is as a customer, what am I doing? Because I'm busy haggling and bargaining from them. But when I go to a Gucci or any other Louis Vuitton, I will not bargain, because I'll go there, whatever price you quote, I'll say, you know what, yeah, this is what it deserves. But I'll go straight to my hand woven weaver and say, bhai sahab, kya aap itne mein de rahe ho? Nahin, abhi itna mein do. So who is to be blamed? Or it's not the word blame, but who has to change the behavior is we all ourselves. We shouldn't be bargaining from our own artists. We don't have a stand when we go and bargain, when we go and buy other branded, but these guys are brands themselves. Without them, Indian culture will cease to exist. So our customer behavior has to change, and it's not going to happen overnight. When that changes, then our artists will be lauded even more. They will receive all the recognition, all the grants. They're getting the money, they're getting the grants, but it's not enough. The sari that you and I are wearing when we are going and receiving an award for ourselves has been woven by them. The sari that you and I are wearing when we are celebrating an Ugadi, which is coming up, or a Gudi Padwa, or a Holi, or Diwali, we are celebrating with happiness, but kaun hard work kar raha hai, wo log kar rahe hain. They smile seeing the end of the sari, but they also see the smile on your face. I think the least you and I can do is not bargain from them. I think that's my only request from people as a customer. Don't bargain from your own Indian artisan. Go bargain elsewhere, not from your Indian artisan. So I think that's the least we can do for now. And I hope that situation changes, because they deserve the best.
Right. And I think also, change the mindset, instead of gifting, expensive items, why don't you gift handloom stuff? In bags, in paper bags, in things that are made out of hand. These small, really, poor people who basically make that decorative items, sell those. Gift those, to your friends, and also that their livelihood is also there. So it's very important again to change the mindset, and it's you and I who are actually taking steps to this conversation. This interview is not about you and me, it's about actually giving credit to those people because of whom we are here sitting and talking about it. Something unique that I want to ask, which I've never asked anyone and which is not in the questionnaire, is who's your favorite artisan whom you would like to thank right now on this show? Somebody who has been close to you, somebody whom you would like to give credit here. Of course, that person is not here, but we can of course take his picture and put it across. Somebody whom you would like to announce on my show.
Wow. In fact, nobody's asked me this before as well. So, okay, I'm going to definitely, this time I'm going to talk about Mr. Shiva. Mr. Shiva, who is the one who's actually weaving our exquisite Jamdani sarees. He's so passionate. He's so passionate about his work that sometimes I'm like, yaar, itna passion mujh mein bhi ho. So I would like to definitely call out or tell his name and say that some of the finest Jamdanis that our clients are wearing is woven by Mr. Shiva Garu. We in Telugu say Garu for which is like so and so G. So whenever we say Shiva Garu, yeah, like that. So Shiva Garu is who I would like to say. I would in this interview, while we always started with Mr. Srini Garu, Muti Garu, but you know what? Let's give the credit to Mr. Shiva Garu for the beautiful, exquisite and timeless Jamdani sarees he's woven for our beautiful people abroad and in India.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This has become such a personal thing right now that I can feel it's not about Kavya, it's not about Ramya, it's not about Lataji, it's not about Sadaf Rizvi, it's about Mr. Garu, it's such an amazing thing, Mr. Shiva. Thank you so much for doing whatever you are, and may God bless you with strength and more power to you. So, all our heart is for you. Thank you so much. Now, my next question is that what is that message that you would like to give to our younger generation, especially the female audience who look up to your story? Should they also, go out and indulge into something like this rather than just going for a IIT degree or something like this and just sitting in a four-walled cubicle? Do you think people should more venture on startups like this? And what is the future market in terms of if you talk about the commercial aspect and also the creative aspect? Do you think something like this, if I ask a 25-year-old person who's out of the college to go and find out something like this and indulge into, what is your message to people like this, and especially females?
So my message to anyone and everyone rather would be, you do you, which is you do what you like to do. So if entrepreneurship is a calling, please go ahead, please set up. And if that requires you to go to IIT, definitely yes. Do whatever you're passionate about. So don't take up entrepreneurship because it's cool. Don't take up even probably engineering because it's cool. And I think we all have gone through that era where everyone did engineering. I'm an engineer myself, but after doing engineering, I've not done anything related to engineering, unfortunately, but I've had my own path that I created. So do whatever makes you feel happy. And I think when you're trying to do something like Kalaneca or any other big brands, you are not the hero. So as you know, I think one of the lines that you just said, right? It's not about you, it's not about me, it's not about Sadaf, it's not about Lata, Kavya, it's about the weaver and the work. The purpose is always bigger than you and me. So the moment you feel that and you recognize that, you will be able to then fulfill that. So the moment you feel you're the hero, so be it. It's absolutely okay. Then your path will be different. If you feel you're the hero, then entrepreneurship or trying to help a weaver is not gonna work out, because then the things are different, the dynamics are different. But the moment you feel your purpose is about contributing to people or contributing to a society, contributing to even one person, doesn't have to be a cluster. That's when you take up, if not entrepreneurship, that's when you take up doing something on your own. That's when you do something beyond your 9-to-5 job, right? So if not as a full-fledged job, hobby ki tarah bhi aap le lo, to bhi chalega. So my message to not just a young female, but everyone across would be, do it because there's a bigger purpose than you and me. Do it because your purpose beats you and beyond your lifetime. Do it for that. And if your purpose is about, hey, I want to have fun, I want to just live and have fun, great. Recognizing that is also great, right? So then go ahead, join a job or join even anything and then have fun, which is absolutely okay. But do what you feel like. Don't do it for the sake of people or to prove somebody.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I'm totally, I believe in what you're saying is that follow your passion. But if you want to do something and give back to the society, do it with your whole heart. And there, as you said, you are not the hero. For example, this show, it's not about me, it's about people like you, influencers whom I give platform to come and talk about their story. What is the purpose? Purpose is, of course, the enrichment that happens personally, but the audience who watch this and get motivated to do something, it can be just one question that they listen and something can just move within them. For example, somebody said, like, whenever I'm depressed or something like that, I just switch on to one of your episodes and I watch it, and I see the bright light at the end of the tunnel. My purpose is solved. Here it goes. So it's so it's so amazing knowing all of this, and definitely the purpose is what it matters at the end of the day. Now, as a female, my next question and before we wind up is, what are the challenges that you have faced in terms of developing trust among artisans and the public in general? As a woman, what are the challenges that you have faced?
So starting with the weavers as such, I think one of the simple challenges was about also speaking their language. While in Andhra you speak a language called Telugu, it's not just about Telugu, it's about speaking their language. Thankfully for us, Mum was here. So we would always take mom with us first. So I should be honest, our weavers trusted us because of our mom. It started from there, and now they trust us like, we are like this. The first challenge was, of course, the language. While I do speak Telugu, it's not been my first language. I've always spoken English and Hindi because we were in Bombay, Cochin and all. So language was our first barrier, but that's easy to overcome. But I think the second barrier was, okay, these guys are trying to create sarees and sell. What are they trying to do? Are they just trying to become a reseller? Are they just trying to sell sarees? Do they have a bigger purpose? That didn't come overnight. It took, I think, we started in 2014 as a hobby, in 2019 as a company. So it took us good five years for them to just trust us blindly, where now they just say, Ramya garu cheppandi, ఏ చీర ఎలా నేయించాలండి, and which means कैसे weave करना है, कौन सा design है. And then I'm like, you know what, let's do this. And we are on calls like this, close, and we execute. This wouldn't have happened in 2014. There was a lot of skepticism, which is valid. We were also skeptic, having our own doubts. The other challenge, I think, as a female would be traveling. Uppada is, luckily, it's not in some remote area, but still traveling there is like it's a different journey. But luckily, you get a beautiful beach to see as you go to the Uppada area. But I think traveling to other areas, other clusters which are in remotest of the remote areas, आपकी गाड़ी जा नहीं सकती है, आपकी phone पे signal नहीं होता है. So a little, I think this is where I'll talk about the safety. You're a little concerned about how safe are you, and this is where neither the weavers are involved or you're involved. So I think safety as a female would always have been a concern when you're going to the remotest of the areas. That was a little of challenge, but that's why me, mom, Kavea, we all would just pack ourselves together and go. And then of course the roads are not well made in the villages. There are lots of potholes. Sometimes our car got stuck and we were stuck in rains. So these are, I don't call them the biggest challenges, but they were there. They were hurdles, so we knew what to do. So agar barish ho rahi hai and your car is stuck, it's going to become evening, you know what to do next, which is don't go during monsoon. Simple. Monsoon mein nahi jaane ka hai. Monsoon mein nahi. So close your weaves, close your designs before monsoon, get them out from there and go after monsoon. Now this conversation or this thought came after a negative experience. So these were the few challenges as a female. Safety, how safe it is after 9 p.m, 10 p.m. In Kakinada, you have the darkness setting in, by 5 and 6. So you don't want to venture out at 11 and 12 and then be stuck. So these are the few challenges.
Right. This is called crisis management, and I believe you've walked the path, and therefore you can speak about it. Now, work-life balance. You are a mom to a small kid. How do you manage your time, and how do you actually invest now? Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how my day is going to be divided, so that nothing is compromised. So, what is the message or the tips that you would like to give to the females who are entrepreneurs and who are actually trying to strike a balance between their work and home? What is your message to them and the tips?
I think how am I able to do it is, I should be honest here, it's a strong support from the family. Right now I have she's 5 months old, my little girl Danica, she's 5 months old. Now luckily my mum, dad and my husband is on different calls, office calls, right? So mum and dad are there and now they're looking after her. So am I blessed that I do have that strong support from them? Thankfully yes. And it's not, every woman does not have that. So I'm just counting my blessings that I do. When I don't, or when I do also, this is what I do simple. When I'm spending time with her, I'm with her. Then there is no other conversation. And I did this, in between I was doing this. I'm looking after her and I'm talking about Kalaneca, and then my Kavea and I would be like, okay, what are we doing? Nah, focus. So what I do is, so morning to evening, like I know today we have this conversation here. I know this is the time. So morning to evening I'm with her completely. And then I tell Mama, this is the time I'll be away. So I've fed her and, just ensure this is taken care of. And my parents are very hands-on. They're like, Chao beta, do your work. So they have given me the wings to be independent. And my daughter, I don't want my daughter to be a liability. I don't want my daughter to ever feel that, acha, mere wajah se mama ne kaam nahi kiya. I want my daughter to feel, you know what, no matter what, I look up to this person who makes things happen. So I will look after my daughter. I'll ensure that, I have my food, I have my time, and I have time for Kalaneca, because that's also my baby, right, at the end of the day. So I think the only tips I can say is plan ahead. That's it. So we know, right, that there's interview, and in fact, I think we had these conversations in between when we're talking that, okay, I'm feeding, I'm here. These are bound to happen, and I think not to feel guilty about it. And I think women like you are good supporters there. Where nowhere you said, okay, Ramya, no, I need to talk. You knew my condition. I said, you know what, take your time. So it's again women supporting women. So do not feel guilty that you have a baby to look after and you have your work. Ensure that you have time for both and ask for help. And I think that's what I do. I told my parents, Mama, Papa, I need help. And they're there. And if not them, I'll get somebody else to help. So ask for help, plan ahead. You'll be able to manage everything. 24 hours, बहुत time hai, to ensure that you can get what you want for yourselves.
You see, according to me, that is empowerment, doing things all, on a platter. If everything is laid out and you do certain things, that is not empowerment. Women empowerment is for those women, who are actually doing it and not compromising. Why should you compromise anything for anyone? Children, why should you compromise for them your life or for your job, their upbringing? So it's all about time management, it's all about planning, it's all about executing it in a proper way, and then it becomes in your system, it falls in your system and things roll on, because everybody frankly and truly won't be as lucky as you are, but then they have to visualize and think and talk about it, ask for help, seek for help, whatever they can, find a way and just go and prove their point to themselves, not to anybody else. This world is not for someone to give judgments on you. You become your own judge, you become your own this thing and speak for yourself. I think that will be so empowering at the end of the day.
I think it's like a sari. When you have a thread going the length and thread in the breadth, right? They have to come together for a sari to be made. So is our life. I can't say I'll do only the length and keep the breadth khali. So I can't say I'll only look after my baby and not look after myself. It's a common thing. So I think it's like a sari.
See where it is coming from. I mean, of course you visualize everything on those lines, and it's so beautifully put, because of course it's like a network. It's धागे का जैसे वो होता है, और उसी तरह से हमारे रिश्ते हैं, उसी तरह से हमारी ज़िंदगी है, किस तरह से हमने अपने आप को एक दूसरे से बांधा हुआ है, और नए लोगों से मिलना, उनसे बातें करना, डेफिनेटली एक नया पर्सपेक्टिव ज़िंदगी का खुल जाता है, एंड यू सी वर्ल्ड इन अ डिफरेंट थ्रू अ डिफरेंट चश्मा जिसको कहते हैं ना, आप दूसरी तरीके से देखते हैं, और वो आपके लिए एक शायद एक नए सूरज की रोशनी वो आपकी ज़िंदगी में लेकर आता है. So it's a beautiful thing. Thank you so much. And now my last question would be, first of all, thank you so much for giving us such like a long time we spoke about something, but believe me, it was very enriching for me, this interview. And I would like to ask, what are your thoughts about our show? What do you think shows like these shows, especially like Women Influencers Talk Show, according to you, how can it be a part of anybody and everybody's life? Also, how can it be a fulcrum to anybody's life? If you can put your message to the public for our show.
So I think one thing is, nowadays, yes, we have access to TED Talks and these talks and those shows, a lot of them. I think somewhere we forget that our own neighbor can be an inspiration. So shows like of yours, actually when we connected and when you started sharing those your YouTube links, and when I was going through some of them as such, I realized you don't need somebody far-fetched to inspire you. You have the person right beside you. And sometimes right in a show that you've just watched, and they all have done something very different from what you've done. So what your show provides is, when there's so many women, I can actually learn from each one of them and execute it and become a better version of myself. So that's what shows like yours do. They ensure that they're bringing out real stories. They ensure that they're bringing out stories of who people truly are. Nothing is, made up. Nothing is dramatized. It is what it is. And it's, I think more importantly, it's very conversational with you. So you bring out, I think, the fact that we're just having a heart-to-heart conversation. Maybe a cup of coffee is missing right now, that's it. But that will be ho jayega.
Definitely, I feel so elated and feel so privileged, because it's very important to strike that chord of honesty and trust and belief. क्योंकि जब तक आप बिलीव नहीं करेंगे तब तक आप अपना दिल नहीं खोल सकते, और तब तक आप अपनी बात नहीं कह सकते. और we have to be on the same page. In fact, different people, different women from different walks of life have come on our show, and I have felt all this time that आपसे तो मेरी डायरेक्ट बात हो रही है, बट बाकी लोगों का तो वर्चुअल इंटरव्यू आ जाता था, एंड वी यूज टू क्लब इट टुगेदर एंड डू द पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन. लेकिन उनके साथ भी एक इस तरह का यूनिक रिश्ता बन गया था ड्यूरिंग आवर टॉक, बिकॉज बातें होती थी एंड हाउ यू यूज टू प्लान कैसे करेंगे, कि वो जब मैं नहीं भी हूँ तब भी शायद मेरी स्पिरिट वहाँ पे होती थी, या कुछ वाइब्स होती थी, या कुछ होता था कि आपको कहीं भी वो लूज कॉर्ड नहीं मिलेगा. तो आपके साथ बात करके, आपके सारे आपके बारे में जानकर, आपकी इतनी जो पैशन है रिगार्डिंग योर वर्क एंड व्हाट यू फील अबाउट दिस आर्टिसंस, सिर्फ ये आपके लिए एक जॉब, एक प्रोफेशन, एक बिजनेस नहीं है, बल्कि इसमें बहुत कुछ है. इसमें बहुत कुछ आपका प्यार है, आपका डेडिकेशन है, जो कि बाहर आता है आपसे बात करके. सो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर कमिंग ऑन आवर शो. ऑफ कोर्स वी आर मिसिंग काव्या एंड लता जी, एंड आई एम श्योर they'll be very happy to listen to this interview later. And thank you so much for giving words to all those people who are missing and behind the scene. So kudos to you and more power to you. And we wish Uppada becomes like a celebration for everyone, and we are surely going to dive in Kalaneca websites and everything. We are going to share the links in the description box. Thank you so much. Any last words that you would like to say?
So thank you, Sadaf. In fact, I think we have been talking for a good amount of time, and I'm glad you nailed down that today we're going to have this conversation, because honestly I've enjoyed myself. In fact, some of the questions that you've asked, nobody's ever asked, so it's good that you're asking them from your heart. आप एक इंटरव्यू के लिए नहीं पूछ रहे हो, आप जो मन में आप पूछ रहे हो, you're genuinely asking, and I think that talks about your passion towards your work, and your I think it also talks about how you feel for the people who are doing their work, which is your weavers, artisans, not just me, you too. So I'm very happy that Kalaneca and we all got this opportunity to have this interaction with you as well. So it's our honor as well. Yes, Mama and Kavea, they'll get an opportunity to watch this. So I'll be telling them, of course, how the experience is, and I'm sure they would be very, very happy to hear the kind of conversation you and I have created for not just Uppada, Kalaneca, but I think for every woman around. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ramya, for joining us today in this interview. It was such a pleasure and honor for Women Influencers Talk Show to host you as a guest. So all you beautiful people, if you haven't subscribed to our channel as of now, this is the time to go and do. Also, if you want to listen to all the beautiful interviews that we have done so far, the links are given below. Please go right now, click it, and you will be able to witness and watch those episodes. Thank you all for joining us today. Take care of yourself, stay safe, and always stay happy.